since the 4th of April, guys, this has been the story for Ethereum, basically moving lower and lower towards the downside without any appearance that we were going to start to see any recovery. But right now, amongst all the fear that's coming out about crypto, we've started to see a push in the other direction for Ethereum with big upgrades on the horizon. Ethereum is looking like potentially going to be moving towards something very exciting as all of these developments unfold. So let's jump into a 4-hour chart because something really exciting is happening in Ethereum right now, guys. I brought you a video a few days ago. I've been traveling this week, so I've not been able to make any videos, but if we look into this zone here, I did say that we would likely get rejected at this supply zone, okay? In terms of supply and demand, this is where the sell-offs have traditionally been happening. There's no guarantee as to seeing whether we're going to break through this supply zone or not, but right now you can see as well we've got a demand zone down the bottom, which appears to be the bottom, or at least showing that this area back here around the sort of 18th of June could well have been the bottom. So what we're really seeing right now, guys, we are going to be pushing probably another sort of $40 or $50 into this zone here, where we're going to be retesting this area to see what's going on. Every time we take a visit to these areas, guys, it's more and more likely that it is going to break through the area. And the reason for that is, if we think about every time it's pushing back up, there's a number of people who are selling it, but those people are getting less and less every time. And the same as when it comes down to the bottom, less and less buyers come into the market. So the more time it hits on that door, the more likely it is to crash in the other direction. But right now, as long as we're not rejected in this zone here, so as long as we're not coming into the zone and then pushing aggressively back out of it, then I think we are more than likely going to see something like this unfolding, which could well be starting into early next week, at which point we will be then looking to approach our next area in the market. Now, in terms of the price, guys, you can see that it did drop down through here. So from the bottom of the consolidation zone up to the top, we would then take our marker and we can bring it to sort of this top zone here, and you can see it brings us across to something quite significant, because when we had this fall towards the downside, you can see that we held support, flipped it into resistance. We had this sort of short accumulation zone before the price fell further. And what's interesting, guys, if we zoom across up here, represented by this pink box, that's basically where we would be taken up to. Now, in terms of what we saw before, guys, this was clearly a big area of support. Previous lines of support become resistance, previous lines of resistance become support. So what I really anticipate happening is coming up into this zone and probably seeing some sort of consolidation. Now I think this is a short-term area we're going to be holding right now, and I do think that we're going to be pushing up from where we are right now, probably towards sort of 37% to the upside. But I think that this could well be somewhere where we run into trouble and we are pushed back down again, potentially forming somewhat at a double bottom, potentially falling even lower. But actually, when this kind of happens, guys, we could actually be getting quite lucky, because it could be around the time that we're starting to see an increase in the interest in Ethereum because of obviously what's happening with the upgrade. It's going to get a lot of publicity. Once crypto starts getting in the press more and more often, it does tend to build towards the upside. It wouldn't surprise me that if we are able to break through this zone, then we would see something quite amazing indeed, where we could well see another aggressive push all the way up to sort of levels like 2,400, which we haven't really seen since the 9th of May, guys. And the reason that's an area I'm interested in is because previously this was clearly a support zone through here. So previous lines of support become resistance, resistance becomes support, because there's not a huge amount of noise that happened in this area, because it did come down extremely quickly, in the same way that here it went up extremely quickly. Because it came up so quickly, the areas above kind of not really that defined, guys. I can see basically a break beyond taking us towards this area, but we would need to see a break, some sort of a bounce like this, and then a push towards the upside to continue on the journey. But right now, guys, until we are having clear breaks above sort of $1,600 to, let's say, $1,750, I think that there's more than likely chances that we're going to come back down and post something like this. Whilst I do think this is probably the bottom, I don't think that necessarily right now we're full on going to recover quite as aggressively as perhaps we would like to do. But what you're going to end up doing is people will jump in on this and they will get trapped into position. So we don't have to necessarily jump in. In terms of when you want to buy, guys, personally, I've been buying in these zones here because it's still pretty good. So guys, just a quick update. If you enjoyed that, make sure you smash the thumbs up for the YouTube algorithm. And if you're new to the channel, then make sure you subscribe to be kept up to date with all of the latest happening in Ethereum, Bitcoin, and other crypto.